Yo guys, another gaming here, welcome back to Subnautica. So today I want to do a video I haven't done before. And it is basically a survival guide in which I will give you some hints, some tips on how to start up in Subnautica. So basically this video will be about gathering resources until you have your own base. So I will give you a few tips in between them. So I will start off with gathering resources like titanium and stuff like that. And we will end at your own self-sustainable base. So that is really what this video is going to be about. I want to help you guys with that. I want to give you some explanation about what you have to do at the beginning when you start the game. At first I also was blown away, like, whoa, what the fuck do I have to do? Because at the start it can be kind of hard because you don't really understand what kind of stuff you need. So yeah, I want to point that out in this video, and I don't want to hold you up any longer, so let's go with tip number 1. So tip number 1, gather resources. This is really important, especially at the beginning, because what you mainly need at the beginning is quartz and titanium. These two things are all over the biome. You can find them everywhere, and at the beginning they are really easy to find. Quartz is also really easy to find at the beginning, but later on it gets kinda hard because it doesn't spawn back, so you have to go to other places to find more quartz. But that is really what you need at the beginning, titanium and quartz, because that is the stuff where you're going to build your base of, your equipment, like a scanner, stuff like that. You also need a battery and stuff like that, but we will come to that later. But really what you need for now, or what you want right now, is titanium, which you can get from metal salvage, which is all over the planet, and you can also get them out of limestone chunks. So, and quartz is just everywhere around the planet, and you will recognize them about their shiny thing. A tip for gathering quartz is do it at night, because at night you will really see them shine everywhere, and at the day they're kind of hard to find, but at night they're pretty easy to find. So I would advise you to go out exploring at night just for quartz. So after that, once you have got some titanium and some quartz, you might also want to focus on copper and silver ore, but that is something a little later on. The next thing you want is more air tanks so you can get deeper. And that brings us to the next tip. Food and water goes down, and it doesn't go down slow. So that is really important, and you have to keep an eye on it, because before you know, you only have 10% of food and you are, I don't know, miles away, and you have no idea how to get food. So keep an eye on that you always have some kind of food with you, or that you aren't too far away from your base, or that you go away with 100% of food and water, or that you have water or food with you. So you really have to keep an eye on that. So especially water is kind of hard to get, because at first it is the best to just get it from bladderfish, or the air sacs, what they were called before. The air sacs are kind of hard to catch, or well, they aren't hard to catch, but are quite hard to find. Sometimes you will find just a whole, you will just find a lot of them, but sometimes it is also very hard to find them. So if you see them, it is the best to just catch them and take them with you back to your base and make water out of it. Water won't get old. That is, you can just store water and it won't get old. That is the best thing about the water. You can just make as much as you want and it won't get old. So with food that's a little bit different. First it starts decomposing after a few minutes, and after that it might even rot. And then you don't want to eat it anymore. It will just, if you eat it, it will get your food down and your water as well, your H2O. It will just get both of those things down, and it just isn't, you just can't eat them then. You won't have any advantage of that then. So food isn't something you can store in your inventory, so you can't hold it for a long amount of time. The best thing is just to eat it after a few minutes. Water you can store, and you can just keep it with you forever. If you find air sacs, or what they are called now is the bladderfish, it is just the best to catch them, make water out of them, so you always have water with you or at your base. So you have the fabricator, and normally if you want to cook something, you just put a fish in and it gets you cooked stuff. You don't have to add anything else in except for the fish. You can also cure it, then you need salt. But cured fish stays good, they don't decompose. So if you want that, that might be a little bit better, but you have to find salt, and salt is also not really that easy to find after some time, but you can use it. I don't cure my fish, but if you want to, it is a possibility. It will also get your H2O down. It will always have -2 points of your water. So if you want to eat a cured fish, make sure your water is also high, or that you have water with you. The best fish to cook might be the Reginald or a peeper. The Reginald gives you +44 food, and a cured peeper, or I mean a cooked peeper, 32. So a good tip to make sure you always have some water near in your base. It is the best to build an aquarium and put 2 air sacs in them, or I mean bladderfish. Because if you have 2 bladderfish, they will reproduce themselves. And this can be quite easy, because after some time you will have like 10 fish, 10 bladderfish in your aquarium, and you just can take one out if you need some water. So that's really a tip I want to give you, because they are sometimes hard to find, and it's just the best to have some in your aquarium, so you always have them near, so you can create water. So once you've taken care of your food and water, it might be the best to go on and create some equipment, and that brings us to the next tip. So the first piece of equipment you need is a scanner. This is really important, since you can scan fragments with it and you will get new blueprints. One of the most important blueprints at the beginning might be the solar panel. Because with the solar panel you can create your base, you can power your base, and you really need power in the base, because otherwise it won't produce oxygen. So once you created a scanner, it might be the best to go out, search for the solar panel fragments. So one of the best things to find at the beginning, some of the best fragments are: first, solar panel; second might be the sea glide, so you can move around faster; and third, the sea moth fragment, so you can create your own sea moth, which is really nice to have, so you can go out exploring more and more. It will just bring you around faster, and the sea moth is just a must have. So after that might be the best to go on and create a survival knife, because with a survival knife you can get table coral samples, which are really handy, and well, they are kind of necessary in the game, because you need them to create electronics, you need them to create a computer chip, and you need a computer chip for a habitat builder. And with a habitat builder you can create your own bases. So now you do have a scanner and a survival knife. After that it might be the best to create a builder. That is what I like to do, because I can create a base as fast as possible, and I can create lockers there, so I can store more stuff, so I don't have to carry everything with me. The storage in the life pod isn't that big, so it's always nice to have a big base with a lot of storage. So that is why I like to go build a base as fast as possible. So after that might also be handy to create a welder. A welder is used to repair stuff. It isn't just used to repair your sea moth, but right now it is also used to repair your life pod. So once you've crashed on the planet, your life pod is just destroyed. It still produces oxygen and stuff like that, but the lights are out and communications relay is destroyed. So you can use the welder to repair that stuff, and that is really handy. It is really cool to have a working life pod, of course. Also, it can sometimes happen that your sea base, if you have one, that one gets destroyed because a fish swam in it, or because you didn't watch the strength. So if you build too much components without placing reinforcements, your sea base will probably just get destroyed, and with the welder you can fix that again. So now that you have the most basic stuff, you have a welder, a scanner, a survival knife, and a habitat builder. It is probably the best idea to create a base as fast as possible. That's what I like to do, like I already told you. So if you want to create a base, and that brings us to the next tip. Tip number 4, creating a base. So a base in this game is really important. It is nice to have it as fast as possible, so you can store your new stuff in it, or you can store your resources in it. I like to create lockers as much as possible, just so you have so many storage places that you can just drop everything in it, and that if you need something in your base you can just grab it and use it. So for a sea base you need power, otherwise it won't produce any oxygen, or you just can't do anything with it. So at the beginning it is the best to get solar panels. So once you have taken care of your energy, your power is good, make sure you have lockers in your base. Just build some lockers around somewhere, so you can store your places, you can go out, grab all the titanium you need, or that you don't even need, just grab it, take it with you, place it in the locker. So you don't really have to go outside once you need it, because once you want to create something, it's just the easiest to have it near you, to have some resources near you, so that you can just grab it and create the thing you need. So a tip I want to give you on creating a base is don't build it too far away from the life pod. The life pod always has power in it. The life pod will always have some stuff in it. You can always use the fabricator in the life pod, which is the most important thing. Power will also run out on the life pod, but it won't happen that fast. So if you are at your base at night and the solar panels can't produce any power and you are out of power and you really need to create something, you need to cook some fish because you are dying of hunger, you can go up to your life pod and you can cook it right there. That is an easy tip I want to give you. Just don't build it too far away. I most of the times build it at the grassy plateaus, which is next to the safe shallows biome, so I can just get back to my life pod as fast as possible if I need to. So if you have a fabricator in your base and some lockers, it might be cool to create an aquarium in your base. So in this aquarium you can store your bladderfish or peepers or anything you want. I would recommend you to store your bladderfish in them, so you can always create some water, but that is really up to you. You can also put some plants in the aquarium. If you want to do this, I would advise you to place the glowing creepvine clusters. So these are really nice because you can plant them, you can get creepvine clusters out of them, but also creepvine samples. You can cut them and you will just get creepvine samples and you can grab the clusters out of them. So that's really something I want to advise you. So if you want to have creepvines in your base, don't put creepvine samples in, but put the creepvine clusters in. So you can also get the creepvine clusters. You need creepvine clusters for rubber, I think, or plastic, no, rubber, I think. So that's always handy to have near. So after you have the basics of your base, it might be the best to create a sea moth. Go out, find some sea moth fragments. They are in the grassy plateaus, I think. So if you need them, just go there and find them. A sea moth is really handy to have. It is like the small submarine, for if you don't know. So right now you have your base, you have your sea moth probably, you have taken care of your food, and you have equipment. Right now all you need to do is just every time go out and exploring for resources so you can expand your base. And that brings us to the next tip, which is creating a self-sustainable base. Creating a self-sustainable base. So as I mentioned in the tip before, you will need an aquarium in your base to put your fish in. But fish isn't the only type of food or water you can get in Subnautica. You can also place plants, or like the creepvine stuff. So you can also farm plants. And you have two types of plants. You have the exterior plants and the interior plants. So the exterior ones are the ones you put outside, and those ones are the creepvines, deep shrooms and acid mushrooms. You can place a lot more outside, but these ones are the most important. So the interior grow beds are the ones you have to place inside of your base, and in that you can place a bilbo tree, a potato plant, lantern tree, marble melon plant, stuff like that, just to give you food. So it can be quite handy to have those things in your base, or if you want exterior grow beds to have them outside of your base. It can be quite easy to just have a lot of stuff near you, so you can just farm plants that you need for if you are hungry or something like that. If you don't have aquarium, it might be cool to have interior and exterior grow beds with plants on it. So these plants aren't only just for food. If you want to place mushrooms, acid mushrooms outside, yes, it is also really nice to have them because you can create batteries from them and you don't have to go out and find them all the time. So I would advise you to create some interior grow beds and some exterior grow beds, just to have some for food, and the ones that are outside to have some acid mushrooms near, or maybe the creepvine sleet clusters if you don't want them in your aquarium, or if you want more, just place them outside and they will grow as well. So that was my last tip. So now let's get a conclusion out of this. So the first thing you want to do is gather resources. At first it is mainly titanium and quartz, and after that copper and silver ore. Later you will also need gold, stuff like that, but that isn't at the beginning. So once you've gathered some resources, you want to take a look at your food and water. Make sure you have enough food and water with you or that your food and water is always at 100%. Keep an eye on that. After that, create your equipment like scanners. The air tank is also really important. So once you've created the air tank, it might be the best to create a scanner. After that, a survival knife, a habitat builder and a welder. So now you've created your equipment, it is probably the best to go on and create a base so you can have a place of your own where you can store your stuff. Create a lot of lockers in it, create an aquarium with fish in it, a fabricator, make sure it is powered and just live there. Don't build it too far away from the life pod so you can always get back to the life pod and use the fabricator if your base is out of power. Then start expanding your base. First make it self-sustainable. After that just make sure you have some nice stuff in there. Some nice rooms. Like a moon pool, which is really cool for the sea mod, so you can upgrade your sea mod. It's really nice to have, really cool to have. You can also change colors of your sea mod, stuff like that. It might also be handy to have a scanner room. I don't really use that one myself a lot, but it can be handy to have so you can find all the places where quartz are, or titanium, or metal salvage, or I don't know, everything you want. You can find it with a scanner room. But it is probably the best to also create some exterior and interior grow beds to make sure you have enough food and creep vine stuff near you, so you don't have to go outside and go back to kelp forest to grab the creep vine clusters or creep vine samples. So that is always really handy to have close to your base. So guys, that is going to be it for this video. Let me know what you think of this video. Did you use some tips I gave you? Let me know in the comments, I would like to know it. Also, if you think I forgot something way too important to miss out in this video, let me know in the comments and just help each other out. Alright guys, so that's going to be it. Thank you so much for watching this episode. Let me know if you are going to use any of those hints while you're playing the game. And I will see you guys in the next one. Pop that thing, she gon' pop that.